The new year brings many things with it. The need for some cool resolutions, the promises to get to the gym harder than last year, and a new season of Black Mirror. The Twilight Zone-esque technological nightmares wrapped into individual stories, strewn across multiple seasons, now brings us 6 new episodes to get fully lost into. With each episode spanning nearly an hour, it can be hard to choose which way to start. And seeing as there's no particular order to watch any of these episodes, picking the best ones to see first is, in my opinion, the best way to binge them. I've done the pleasure of doing the work for you and watched all 6 of the new season 4 episodes and have ranked them accordingly. This list was really hard to narrow down because Black Mirror in general is just an awesome show. Even more, these new episodes had an obvious increase in production value, talent acquisition, and general quality. Nonetheless, here are the good and even better episodes of season 4 ranked. Episode 5 might have been one of the most Black Mirror episodes on this list. Along with a highly futuristic concept and the plot of a human coping with technology, this episode explored the struggle humanity will always have with technology. We aim to make it as perfect as possible, but forget that we ourselves aren't perfect. This clash of the human desire to produce perfection and the human reality of imperfection means the likeliness of a human invention itself undoing our species is one of the most probable things to happen when we explore fully capable artificial intelligence. Episode 5 explores the nightmares so many tech enthusiasts and pop culture nerds have, that technology will turn against us. But despite sounding very grand, Episode 5 is focused on a singular story of such events, and the plot it offers up is straightforward and even simple. This is one of the biggest reasons why I disliked Episode 5 so much. It delivers very few moments of awe and spends too much time exploring a conflict so many of us have already explored in our minds. There was no aha moment, no jaw-dropping ending, not even the satisfaction of really knowing what went on in this world, and why our main character's chase for an object is so important. While being beautifully shot and having epic action moments, Episode 5 lacks the kind of psychological craziness that we're all used to by now, and replaces it with a more predictable narrative arc. For this, Episode 5 ranks last on a list of extraordinary pieces of science fiction. Episode 2, Archangel, had me literally hanging on the edge to see what was going to happen next. We start with a fairly simple Black Mirror premise, a mom who is worried about her daughter's well-being, so she implants a microchip which allows her to see every move and even blocks some unwanted events from her daughter's mind. The journey we're taken on is unique to the series, as we watch this little girl transform into a young woman, as she struggles to cope with the device implanted into her head. To say the least, she starts having some problems with the system and the way her mom uses it. This tense plot of overly cautious parent guidance kept me wondering what was going to happen next, especially when new characters are revealed and we start to see the true colors of everyone involved in the drama. Even better, we're given a great philosophical question which every Black Mirror story is supposed to deliver, and we're left to figure it out even after the credits roll. To me, the weakest part of Episode 2 was its ending. We didn't really get to see what this whole situation panned out to be, and some of the resolution wasn't very strong at telling us what our characters had learned from their adventure. That said, Episode 2 ranks at 5th on this list. Episode 1 started extremely strong. We follow Robert Daly, the CTO of a futuristic gaming company. Their product, a few hundred times more advanced than VR, sucks you into a lifelike world where you can feel, smell, and act like real life. Things start to get creepy, however, when his own private version of the game is much more serious than the innocent product sounds. Something obvious about the episode is the corny Star Trek facade which hides the full reality of Daly's intentions underneath. We're treated to a roller coaster of emotions as we peel back the life of Robert Daly and his sadistic intentions with the machine he has built. This unwinding and eventual reveal of what Daly is up to is the strongest aspect of Episode 1. Everything after just doesn't feel as strong. A handful of plot holes and reaches will leave you rolling your eyes as you excuse the fabricated notions mentioned on screen. By the time Episode 1 is wrapped up, I felt like I had been watching for more than I should have, and the usual cliffhanger of an ending was instead ruined by a more uplifting message. That's not to say Episode 1 didn't do what I wanted it to do. It just kept going for too long, which is why it's 4th on this list. Episode 6 was like a mini season of Black Mirror all wrapped in a very cool, very fan-servicey 70 minutes. Our journey starts in a museum of crime, where the whole of Black Mirror has been captured in tiny trinkets and souvenirs on display. Not only was it cool to see so many artifacts from the series, but it also confirmed the notion that all of these episodes are contained within the same exact universe. We're treated to 3 mini stories within the episode, each worth their own full-length stories. What ends this episode caps off this entire season by giving us a last huge shocker. The best thing about episode 6 is that it ultimately gave us a couple of stories to send us on our way. This might seem like a cop-out, but giving us a couple of storylines ensures there's no way we're let down by the ending. Even more, these side stories weren't just half-baked. They were each interesting looks into experiments which caused disturbing and equally hilarious irony. As we get down to these last episodes, it was hard saying one was better than the others. Sadly, episode 6 has to be put behind our next 2 entries for the simple fact that they're each wonderful offerings of what Black Mirror can do best. Episode 3 is the exact opposite of 2 in that it was made completely whole by its wonderful ending. We follow an architect with a horrible event looming over her past, one that ticks like a time bomb. 15 years after that event, a string of new occurrences brings up old mistakes, and new ones altogether. What I liked most about episode 3 is the fact that it was grounded in a world so believable that it imitated real crime drama in a way so few fictional shows can do. More than that, it weaved Black Mirror technology ever so slightly into the plot, and instead of it being the main focus of episode 3, it was a mere tool to move the already interesting plot towards its shocking end. We're exposed to a story of how a normal person will go to great heights to hide some seriously dirty sins, and what that path of deception looks like in a world where everyone and everything can be used as a witness. The ending capped it all off in one of the best, fully formed conclusions to a Black Mirror episode in the whole series. I highly recommend episode 3, and that's why it's number 2 on our list. Episode 4 of Season 4 is a unique one. I loved every minute of a story I never thought I would. In a dystopian future, couples are left to a little machine in order to find their best match, and escape a captivity which sees them locked in a mood of discontent. These matches only come, however, when each person has been through thousands of other relationships. We follow 2 people going through such trials as they figure out what the system exactly is and how they can find the perfect match. The first half of this episode is just as much rom-com as it is sci-fi, but then the 20 or so minute mark hits and episode 4 grabs you harder than many of the episodes in this season. It masterfully crafts a love story which aims to comment on the paradox of love, and the system uniting couples quickly turns to a metaphor for destiny in the real world. Not only was this metaphor developed through philosophical questions posed by the wonderful actors in this episode, but the idea of love in general was toyed with so that any viewer could see the mechanical nature of it, and how that mechanical nature isn't just true to this fictional masterpiece. I never thought I'd say it, but episode 4 was beyond what a lot of Black Mirror episodes are, especially in season 4. It did a lot without boring me out, and for it to be based on such a vague topic as love, that's a great achievement. One so great, it earns the top spot for our Black Mirror season 4 episode ranking. There you have it, my list for the best season 4 episodes, streaming now on Netflix. But don't just take my word for it. Season 4 of Black Mirror offers up 6 great looks into dystopian futures, science fiction tech, and the horrors of what humans can create. This list was so hard to create because there wasn't just one episode that I hated, and even less episodes that didn't ask some wonderful questions of humanity and technology in the very near future. If you have an open afternoon, do yourself a favor and watch all 6 of these episodes in any order you want. For more on Black Mirror and everything television, come back to Gaming Respawn.